Hello, welcome to the ranch. Today, I'm going to give you a little advice on shovels, go over a few things about how to pick out the best shovel for your garden or farm or ranch or whatever you have going on. I think I got some good points, so over some points and help you make a more informed choice. So you might be thinking shovels, they're pretty simple. There's not much to a shovel. Push it in the ground, scoop up some dirt. Well, I've got a lot of experience behind the end of a shovel. And so I've picked up some things over the years and I'm just wanting to share them with you. So no point in talking about a bunch of crap. We'll just get right to it. Shovels, they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. And some of them, yeah, they do have a specific use. And it's good to have a few different ones around. But, for most, you can get by with just one or two shovels, I'm sure. I really never understood these short-handled shovels. I guess they could be good for getting into tight places. And yeah, this is more of a grain scoop, and so it has kind of a specific use. But I'm talking handle length in general. I mean, if you spent many hours behind one of these short-handled ones, you're working your tail off. I mean, it's truly back-breaking work. You're bent over the whole time, just scooping away. And man, I just really don't like them. So I would, I would say avoid a short handle unless you have a specific type place that you need to work. Next we got a square nose shovel. As you probably know, they're not all that good for digging. Square nose prevents them from digging in and getting much dirt. That said, they can be pretty good if you're digging some sand or something like that. It does have a nice long handle, so it's decent to shovel with. Probably the best use for this is like cleaning up on a flat spot, like your driveway or something. Maybe you've got some compost or something. It'd be great to get it shoveled off your driveway. Of course, this is probably the type you're most familiar with. Good old round nose shovel. You can't go wrong with just a regular round nose shovel, but it does have a couple drawbacks. The first is, if you're in really rocky ground, then a big wide shovel can be difficult to dig into the ground. You're just pounding on rocks, and it can make shoveling a lot more difficult. Between those rocks, you're just getting a spoonful of dirt with each shovel. But really you can't go wrong with these. This is a decent shovel and probably what most people have and like, so I'm not going to discourage you from getting one like this. But there is something better. The handle is a super important part of the shovel, and I prefer the wood ones, and I'll tell you why. Well, they're not as heavy as the fiberglass or nylon or some of these others. And that's a plus when you're shoveling all day. Take a pound or so off from just the weight. It makes a difference. It makes a difference when it's all said and done. Also, you leave your fiberglass shovel out in the sun. You've been shoveling away, you stop and get you a nice glass of water or something, and you come back and the handle's so freaking hot you can barely touch it. Wood handle's not going to do that. You're going to be able to come right out and pick up your shovel. It also goes for cold. Some of the metal handled shovels, man, they'll just about freeze your hands off. And the wood, for some reason, and the wood, not nearly as cold. Now the wood does have some drawbacks. It'll deteriorate. They can deteriorate over time. Might need to replace them. Might need to do a little maintenance and put some wood finish on it to help preserve it. keep it in good working order for a good long time. And don't think that those fiberglass ones won't break and stuff too. See, and here's a fiberglass handle. As you can see, it's got a nice big crack. Don't know that it lasted any longer than a wood one would have. Another flaw with the fiberglass is once it starts to break down, then the slivers that you get from it, they are way worse than wood slivers. I can usually dig a wood sliver out, but these fiberglass slivers, they'll stick with you for quite some time, and they don't feel good at all. So my favorite shovel, it's a trenching shovel. It's only about 3 inches wide, has a good sharp point. And of course, on my selection, I've got the wood handle. The great benefit of this is digging in hard and rocky soils. It can be a lot easier to break down through those soils and work around rocks and things. You know, I usually keep my regular round nose available, and if the ground gets a little soft or I've busted up a bunch of ground with this, then I'll use the bigger shovel to scoop it out. But all in all, if I just had to have one shovel, it would be one of these trenching shovels. This is what I take camping. This is what I do, dig trees and post holes and everything with these. I put in a pipeline over an acre long, just using one of these in some hard clay soil. But one thing that you do want to watch for, and this goes for most of your round nose shovels, because this is an important factor. As you see the cleat here, you know, where you press with your foot and dig it in the ground, you want to make sure that you have a good decent cleat that lets you get the leverage you need to get the dirt moved, and it also protects your boots, and that's an important thing. I've ruined some very good expensive boots with the shovel that didn't have a good cleat. This one is an example of that. You can see there's virtually no cleat. There were some very small ones, but they bend over because they were cheaply made and thin. So I would say stay away from a shovel. I would say stay away from any shovel that doesn't have a cleat back here, unless you're looking at a grain scoop or something, you know, then of course that might be fine. So like I say, this is my favorite shovel. I'd highly recommend it. I hope we gave you some things to think about when you go to buy your next shovel. And I've got a couple of broken handles around here. Maybe we'll make another video showing you how to replace one. Well, I appreciate you spending some time here at the ranch, and I hope we've helped you make a good choice for your next shovel. You know, thanks for watching. Check back in on me sometime.